Welcome to another Boyish Rant. As I'm sure you're aware, a new strain of coronavirus has been revealed in humans that had not been identified before. With a fatality rate of only 2%, this new strain of flu has given the world a good case of the willies, even though it's really only fatal to people with underlying illnesses, old people or kids. I mean, 2% isn't even that crazy. Standard flu kills way more than that a year. I'm gonna lose this. Didn't cost me that much to put this together. Let's get comfy. Don't know why it's got such a bad rep at the moment. The World Health Organization has taken to calling this new strain COVID-19. Now, it is spread like regular flu, meaning there's lots of myriad ways for it to get into your nose and mouth, causing you to come down with a freshly infected case of sweet and sour sicken. Wash your hands regularly. This all started when a pneumonia of unknown cause was reported in Wuhan at the end of last year. Now, after some investigation, they found that it came from Wuhan fish market, and if you've ever seen any pictures of this fish market, you'll see that it is a fucking kazi of bacteria and bad practice. We're lucky that flu was the worst thing to come out of there. Unfortunately, most of the information that's going to be coming out of China is going to be, at best, iffy. And at worst, it's probably still better than the American news. For instance, China said originally that the disease came from a wet market, yet just down the road is Wuhan's Bioengineering Institute of Infectious Diseases. Coincidence? It reminds me of this. Also, you should be washing your hands more. Today's rant sponsored by Corona. COVID-19 has spread to more than 60 countries in less than 2 months. The UK now has 51 reported cases with only one fatality, which realistically and honestly isn't that crazy in comparison. I think the media is pumping a lot of this stuff out as sort of frantic. Luckily nobody started panic buying yet, but it's not that crazy, compared to like Italy. If you look at Italy, Italy's getting fucked harder than when the Allies arrived in World War II. Iran has seen more than 1,500 reported cases with 66 deaths, making it the epicenter for a resurgence of this disease out in the Middle East towards the neighboring countries such as like Pakistan, Kuwait, Iraq and Afghanistan. In fact, most of Iraq's neighboring countries have actually closed their borders to Iraq to try and quell the spread of this disease. Sadly, COVID-19 is spreading faster than a rent boy's arse cheeks. Also, you should wash your hands. So earlier today, Boris Boris announced the UK's reactionary plan to deal with this infection. And it comes in 4 stages. It comes in, we're going to contain we're going to delay, and we're going to research, and we're going to mitigate. This new plan of action has given the government new laws and powers to close schools, restrict the use of public transport, and stop large gatherings in public, which admittedly is more than the Chinese government did at the start of this whole epidemic. Estimates indicate that up to 60% of the initial infections came from the centre of Hubei during the Lunar New Year's, as hundreds and thousands of tourists left China. Because of the incubation period of this disease is 12 hours to sort of anything to 6 weeks, it's hard to assume where these tourists are going to be going. In fact, as it stands right now, the virus is spreading faster outside of China than it is inside. Also, wash your hands, man. I feel fine. Bop. But don't fret. Boris said that if it all goes tits up, he's going to help bring in the army to help local forces while the police focus on serious crimes and maintaining public order. Where have I heard that before from English politicians? No, drawing a blank. They even have new legal powers to force people to stay in quarantine. The standard guidelines that they were issuing before Boris made his announcement today was that you just stay 1 meter away from somebody who's infected. Personally, I vote that they go and sit in the shed, out with their meds until they stop coughing. But that's why I'm not Secretary of Health. Also, wash your fucking hands. Not enough people washing their fucking hands. I did get to make this suit though, which, was pretty cheap. I might start selling them if the public keep ignoring health advice. Okay, here's the thing. There's so much misinformation out there, and then combine that with the cretinous stupidity of humanity, especially the British public. No offence. Actually, offence. Some of you are fucking cretins. Seriously. More infections are bound to happen. In fact, when one British citizen started to develop symptoms of COVID-19, she didn't follow the expert's advice to self-quarantine herself and receive the proper medication that she needs and get the rest that she needs. Oh no, she took a train and then an Uber to the centre of London to go to hospital and then just walked into A&E. These are the kind of high-quality idiots that I'm glad that they have the coronavirus. I only wish they were elderly also. Right. Where was I? Realistically, here's what you need to know. If you have a runny nose with phlegm, you have a common fucking cold. COVID-19 is a dry cough with no runny nose. Coronavirus strains hate the sun and can be killed with a temperature of 26 to 27 degrees. It's not all that bad. This new strain of COVID-19 has a little bit of defense to that, which is why it's got such a stranglehold in Iraq and the Middle East. If an infected person sneezes, it takes about 10 feet before it reaches the ground. It can survive up to 12 hours on a metal surface and about 6 to 12 on fabric, but normal washing detergent will get rid of that. Oh god, it stinks in here now! Drinking warm water is effective for all viruses, although as best you can, try to avoid drinking drinks with ice in. COVID-19 can survive 5 to 10 minutes on your hands, and a lot can happen in that time. You scratch your balls, pick your nose, rub your eyes, not in that order. And the final piece of information, which is probably the most important at all, wash your hands regularly. I mean, there's some people who don't even have bacterial soap in their house. How do you fucking live without not being ill all the time, you sick fucks? We do all that, we might actually make it through this. Fuck!